Court calls the case of the Legends of Rosewood Village versus Betty Ferguson.
Again, Judge Joe Joseph for plaintiff.
Ms. Ferguson, can you unmute? Ms. Ferguson, can you state your name for me?
Betty Lou Ferguson.
All right. And Joseph, what is the plaintiff's claim in this case?
Thank you, Judge. Non-payment of rent case. We're showing rent to retain at $4,640 through today's date, along with the court costs, which are $180. The total amount plaintiff is seeking is a repayment of $4,820.
$4,820. All right. All right. Ms. Ferguson, what do you have to say about that?
I've been in the hospital for the last 6 months. And so as a result of that, I was getting paid from my work for disability. And now I'm supposed to be in long-term disability. And they have not cleared it yet. So I have not received any kind of payment from my job since December. And so I've been attempting to get through to long-term disability so they can clear it and I can pay this, but I can never reach the man I'm supposed to talk to. So I have money coming. I just don't have it yet. And I have full intention to pay this. I just need to get the money as I am still I'm in a long-term nursing care right now. So
got it.
And I've been hospitalized since the 23rd of September.
Okay. So let's do this. You have no idea how soon that's going to happen for you?
They're supposed to clear it. I don't know what they're waiting for. If I can ever get a hold of this man named Mike, I would find out. But I've given them everything they're supposed to have. And so I don't know what else they need because I can't talk to the man. And I've been trying for 2 months, since December to try to get this cleared. So I'm supposed to receive the long-term disability payments, and I was supposed to start in December, but it hasn't. And at this point, I don't know what else to do other than to keep trying to reach him. So,
have you, Ms. Ferguson, have you tried to contact legal? Have you tried to contact an attorney or legal services to help you out with that?
No, I have not. That's a good idea, though.
Okay.
So
that might be the best thing for you to start doing. How much is your monthly rent?
I can't hear you, sir.
How much is your monthly rent?
It was $2,055, but there's charges on it now for not paying it for the last 2 months. So what I owe is somewhere around $6,000 for the 2 months.
Well, you owe 48 right now, but if we go into April, then 48? Yeah, it's going to click up. Okay. But let's do this.
Okay.
I'm going to adjourn it out a week to March 28th, 2025 at 3 p.m. Okay? You can appear I'll let you appear via Zoom. And do you have someone that can write a number down for you, or can you write a number down?
Write a number down? I can.
Okay. That number it's 665.
Can you say that again, please?
Yes, ma'am. 665 6181. Okay, that's legal services number. Okay.
Okay. 615618. Is there three other numbers?
No, it's 665.
Okay.
6181.
Okay.
Okay, and that's area code 734. And call them and see if they can help you out to try to get through to somebody that with your long-term disability.
Okay. Now let me repeat this because it's only 6 numbers. 665 618.
Okay, you broke up there. Let me give it to you again, okay?
Okay.
Okay, it's 665 6181.
Okay. So is this supposed to be a phone number?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Because I only have 6 numbers here.
Okay.
Maybe it can be chatted to her and whoever's assisting
Why don't I put it in can we put it in the chat? We're putting it in the chat on here. And if you can have somebody take a look at it, they can take a look at it, or you can look at it.
Okay.
Okay. And then we'll see you next week. Okay.
Okay. So we're meeting again next week?
Yes, next week, March 28th, next Friday at 3 p.m.
Okay.
All right.
And Judge, can plaintiff appear by Zoom as well? I assume that's fine.
I'm sorry?
Can plaintiff appear by Zoom as well?
Yes, we'll let you do that.
Okay. All right.
Okay, Ms. Ferguson.
Is there anything else I need to know?
No, not at this point. Okay.
Okay.
And we'll talk again. We'll talk again next week.
Okay. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Take care of yourself, please.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you, Judge. And that's the only case that we have left on your docket.
Yes, sir.
Unless you. Okay. Very good. Have a great weekend. Thank you.
It. You too. Is it Cross Street versus Roland? That matters to DJK Ann Arbor LLC versus Brian Hughes.
Yes, sir. I'm here, Your Honor.
Good morning, Judge. Dan Shemke appearing on behalf of DJK.
This is a termination case.
Correct, Judge.
And the basis for the termination is month to month.
Month to month, non-payment of rent.
It's a month to month lease.
Yes.
And 31st, and there's notice. All right. Mr. Hughes, what's your position on this?
As far as what?
As far as vacating the premises.
Yeah, I've been working on it.
Okay. Are you going to seek some assistance or anything along those lines?
I mean, the last time that I was in this and got all the information from you, I called rental assistance, and I don't qualify for that. And legal services was supposed to call me, and I don't know if I missed a call or what. I mean, it was only a 24-hour turnaround. Like, they were supposed to call the next day at 11.
Okay.
Judge, could I address this?
Go ahead.
We were here in December, I think, and we went through this already, and Mr. Hughes was not able to obtain sufficient help to get him the money that he would need to stay in any event. I mean, he's more than $10,000 behind on his rent.
All right. All right, Mr. Hughes, I'll give you an opportunity to talk to an attorney if that's what you want to do. I'll adjourn this out to March 28th, 2025 at 3 p.m.
Judge,
Yes.
if I might, I'm sorry, I'm going to be somewhere on the road between Fort Lauderdale and Ann Arbor. Could we do a different date?
Yes, I'm not going to have the 4th available, I don't believe, so we'll have to go. I don't have the 11th either, do I?
Mr. Hughes,
Pardon?
you get another month.
Hang on. What?
Well, I'm still working on
The
getting out of here.
18th.
I'm not,
All right. So it'll be April 18th, 2025 at 1 p.m. Okay, you can file your Zoom request, but those proceedings are in person.
is that at 14A1?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you, Your Honor.
Judge, would I
Thank
have to
you.
file a request? You
Yes,
won't
sir.
All right, fair enough. Thank you.
Thank you. Blue Heron Point versus Kira Smith.
Good morning, Your Honor. Mark Messenger, appearing on behalf of plaintiff.
Kara Smith, they are not checked in. You paid for the second filing. If you'd raise your right hand to be sworn, I'll let you take it to fault. Do you solemnly swear or affirm testimony you're about to give will be the truth, whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, Your Honor.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Judge. Judge, based on defendant's failure to appear, plaintiff would request the default judgment for possession only enter. Current rent to retain, $5,643.51. Court cost, $169.50. Total to retain, $5,813.01. Writ to issue after March 31st, 2025.
Judgment to the plaintiff, that is by default for possession, redemption amount, any amount requested with a writ issue in 10 days.
Thanks so
Blue
much.
Heron Point, I think that's it for you, right?
That'll do it. I think you had a second one, but it was dismissed at
Yes. Crystal McKenzie, Blue Heron Point versus Crystal McKenzie, that matter is dismissed on plaintiff's motion without prejudice.
Thanks so much, Judge.
All right. You do the same.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Good morning. Beal Properties versus Leo Stringa. Go ahead, counsel.
Laura Kruby, Your Honor, on behalf of plaintiff.
All right. They are not checked in. If you'd like to take a default, raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do, Your Honor.
All right, go ahead.
Thank you. This is actually a termination to recover possession of property. So, Your Honor, we're asking for to recover this possession of property with a writ date of March 21st.
Or
I'm sorry,
31st.
March 31st.
31st. All right. Judgment to the plaintiff, that is by default for possession.
Thank you.
No redemption amount, writ to issue 10 days. Court does call the case of Arbor Meadows versus Milton Reyes.
Laura Kruby, Your Honor, on behalf of plaintiff.
Got him?
Hola.
Hello.
Hello.
What's your name?
Milton Reyes.
Okay.
And what is plaintiff's claim in this case?
Your Honor, this is non-payment of rent. Currently, we have $2,044.40 in rent owed. We have court costs in the amount of $175. Total redemptive amount is $2,219.40.
All right. Hey, Mr. Reyes,
Yes.
how are you intending on getting that paid?
The problem is no have money for not pay my job in 4 months. Pero me have a new job now. Me pay 2,000 in next week, next Friday.
You can pay $2,000 next Friday?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to adjourn it out to next Friday, March 28th, 2025 at 2 p.m. that's in person, but
Okay.
if you need to pay that, and I'm going to suggest that you try to get that paid before noon. Could you get it paid before noon on Friday?
So, do you know have my English is a little bit.
Okay. Well, next time we'll get an interpreter.
Okay, pero me Friday, me Friday 2,000 paid, right?
Pardon? Say what you said again.
Say me pay next Friday 2,000.
Yes, sir.
$25. Okay.
Okay. Pay that next Friday. Try to do it before 12 o'clock.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. And your hearing is at 2 o'clock. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Your
Can you
Honor.
mark that? All right. Was that it for you, counsel? I got a couple more.
That is it for me, Your Honor. Thank you.
Thank you. Arbor Meadows versus Dual and Arbor Meadows versus Ford, those matters are dismissed. You're gonna take that.
Yep.
All right. Spice Tree Apartments versus Pablo Hernandez.
Good morning, Your Honor. Rachel Dornbush, Palace Law, on behalf of the plaintiff.
Mr. Hernandez, you have to unmute.
Hello,
Hello. What's your name?
Pablo Perez.
Okay. Ms. Dornbush, this is a health and safety.
It is, Your Honor. This is based on the defendant's failure to properly prepare the unit for treatment after multiple notices and attempts by the landlord to address the situation.
Mr. Hernandez, you understand that?
No, I'm to speak Spanish.
All right. What time did we set that other one for? Is she in the 2 p.m. block?
No, I'm sorry.
No. Yeah, you set the other one for 2.
Should be at 12.
But this isn't, okay, well, we'll just have to get a second one, okay. All right. If an interpreter is needed, I'll adjourn it to March 28th, 2024 at 25 at 12 p.m. We'll get an interpreter in.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And Coachville versus Exmara Aguil. Yeah, I think it is. Aguil.
Rachel Dornbush, Palace Law, on behalf of the plaintiff.
And they're here.
They're still signed in, Your Honor. This looks like
Yeah.
they're muted.
Ma'am, can you unmute? There we go. Can you state your name for me?
Xiomara Barguijo.
Okay. All right. And what is plaintiff's claim in this case?
With costs, Your Honor, $898.
All right. And ma'am,
Yes.
when are you intending on getting, or how are you intending on getting that paid?
Ayúdame porque yo no puedo. Excuse me, you guys, somebody speak Spanish, please?
Okay. You speak Spanish? No habla inglés?
No,
Okay.
I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. It's okay. We'll adjourn this out to March 28th, 2025 at 12 o'clock noon. You have to come down to the courthouse and we'll have an interpreter.
Oh,
Okay, ma'am?
okay.
Okay, so next week at noon, and we'll have somebody that speaks Spanish.
Okay. Thank
Okay?
you. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's it for me this morning, Your Honor.
All
Thank
right,
you.
take care.
You too.
Coachville versus Vasquez and Coachville versus Green, those matters are dismissed. Okay, let's see what we have here. I have Julie Yasu and Zhao, is it Winpu versus William Dunleavy.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Good morning, and what are your names?
My name is Wenpu Chim.
Got it. Okay, they have your name. They don't have it reversed like they normally would. That's okay. I got it now. Okay.
Thank you. Yeah. Yeah.
All right. And Mr. Dunleavy, there
Yes.
you are. All right. This is a non-payment of rent action. And how much do the plaintiffs claim is owing?
It is $34,938, Your Honor.
$34,900.
$38, Your Honor. Plus
Got
the
it.
court fee, $215.
I got 25. Actually, you have court fees. $240.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. And Mr. Dunleavy, what do you have to say about that?
I was wondering if that amount was going to ask if that was through February 28th or which, I suppose.
I'm sorry. Say that again.
I was asking if that amount was through February 28th.
Well, it should include March rent.
My understanding was we would do it through February 28th. That was just one question I had.
Okay. How are you intending on getting this paid?
A little at a time. I'm missing work at the moment, but trying to get into a better job for the last year. I think the last time we met last spring, I've been trying to just keep up with current rent, but I have a minimum wage job at Ace Hardware, and I'm trying to get out of the situation, basically. So part of it was I finally had to say, I guess I have to move out so that whatever money I can put toward things would be toward back rent versus anything current.
All right. Have you guys talked at all about a move out or how you're going to do this?
Yeah, yes, Your Honor. Yes, Your Honor. If I may address the court, I'm Brian Trem, Winpu's husband, and I assist her in property management.
Okay, I'll let you talk. Go ahead.
Thank you, sir. Bill, first of all, as you recall from last spring, Bill's been our tenant for 12 years, and we're sort of like feel toward him like a family member. We care for him. We like him. We want to help him. Our purpose here today is simply to register the debt. As we explained last time, when Bill became our tenant, he was earning $350,000 a year in the computer industry, IT industry, and he always paid promptly first of the month and was an exemplar tenant. And then that company got bought out, and he lost his job, and he ran up almost a year's debt, and it was over $20,000. And to his credit, he paid it all down but $500. He got a new job making approximately 110 grand. And that's when he paid all of that down. And then that company got bought out. And I'm afraid to say it appears, even though he's a brilliant guy and a really affable person, a hard worker, he's competent, he's strong, he's healthy. He seems to be being discriminated against for ageism in his field of expertise. So he's, the last time we were there, he said he would keep up with the rent, and he was working at Ace Hardware. He was doing management at, I guess, University Towers as well. Previous to that, across from the VA hospital, he was doing DoorDash as well. And he said in, I believe it was September, August, that he would be in a position to start paying down the rent again, making double payments as he had done before when the students were back and DoorDash was up again. So at any rate, somehow that didn't happen. On January 5th. He gave us a 30-day notice that he would be leaving. And as you say, the rent is due on the first of the month, and therefore, when we prepared the documents, a friend of mine who reviewed it told me that March 1st was, March was to be included because he's still not out of the premises. So theoretically, he should have been out February 5th. Here we are, March 21st. We told him that he could have until the end.
Okay, look, here's what I'm gonna do. It seems to me you guys can work out a move out on this.
Yeah, we
Go
gave him,
ahead, what?
we asked that he be out by the end of the month so that we could rent it. And right now, the garage is completely packed with his stuff, and he's still got a few items in the house, and on the deck, he's got stuff that needs
Are
to.
you guys in communication with each other?
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Then I think what you should do is I'm gonna adjourn this out a week. You guys talk as to how you're gonna do the move out. There's a request for a money judgment. I'd certainly have that money judgment, but then work out some payments where he can move out and work out some payments that he could make. But you guys are gonna have to do that, okay?
Understood. If I may say, Your Honor, would like to ask for Bill to provide his forwarding address, please, at his aunt's in Bloomfield Hills. I understand where he's going to be living.
Okay, you guys can talk about all of that, okay? You guys can work all of this out, and then we can get here next week and we can try to figure out exactly what we're gonna do.
Okay, one last final question, Your Honor. We just wanted to make sure that the utilities have not been put into Wenpu's name without her knowledge of it, and that at the end of March, when he does hopefully totally vacate, so we can rent it again, that at that point, we would put the utilities in Wenpu's name. We did have the situation where, unbeknownst to us, Bill didn't pay the sewer account for a year, and that's included in that total payment or the total owed money. But it's just kind of shocking, you find out about these things after the fact, and if you don't pay your sewer account, they put it on your tax roll and so on. So
I understand what happens. All right, so March 28th, 2025 at 3 p.m. That's an in-person proceeding. Everybody has to be here. We'll get it all hammered out as to what's going to happen.
Okay, thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, folks.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Your Honor.
Thank you. Court does call the case of Ryan Palmer versus Sonia Stoneburner.
Morning, Your Honor. Ellis Friedman for the plaintiff.
Do we have him?
Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
Okay. Hello. Your name?
I'm Sonia Stoneburner, sir. Your Honor.
All right. All right, Mr. Friedman, what is the plaintiff's claim in this case?
The termination case, Your Honor, for lease violations.
All right. And ma'am, what is your position on this case?
I am the, excuse me, I am the defendant on this case.
Yes, you are.
I'm sorry, I'm Sonia. I am the tenant.
Okay, that you did answer my question, but that's not what I meant. What is your position regarding determination?
The termination, sir, is, I don't want to be terminated. I have a lot of reasons why this shouldn't go on. I have a lot of patients. I have a lot of unanswered questions. I tried repeatedly to get a hold of Mr. Palmer and numerous of times, and he
Okay,
did.
are you going to hire an attorney to represent you in this case?
Yes.
All right. I'll give you a week to get that accomplished. I will set this for March 28th, 2025 at 12 p.m.
Perfect. Thank you, sir.
I reserve escrow.
All right. And that is an in-person hearing, ma'am.
Yes, sir.
Your Honor, can I
All
reserve
righty.
escrow?
Pardon?
Can I reserve escrow?
Yes, escrow is reserved.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. And then I have Barnes and Barnes versus Gustavo Panzo. That matter is dismissed on plaintiff's motion without prejudice.
Thank you.
Is that it for you, Mr. Freeman?
That's it today.
I think it is.
We'll have a big day on Monday.
What do you say?
I'm looking forward to a big day on Monday.
Yeah. Oh, joy. All right. All right. Thank you, sir.
We'll see you next week. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Hamptons of Clover Lane, yeah, versus Tiana Pitts. You know what?
Good morning, Your Honor. Attorney Carrie Zanon on behalf of plaintiff.
Tiana Pitts. Yeah, I do see her.
I see her in the gallery, Judge.
Yeah, I do see her up there. You need to unmute, Miss Pitts. Okay.
Hello.
Hello. All right. What is plaintiff's claim in this case?
Your Honor, this is a non-payment of rent case. I am showing that rent is due in the amount of $4,645.99. Court costs of $175 for a total of $4,820.99.
All right. Miss Pitts, how are you intending on getting this paid?
Yes, I'm in a process of liquidating some assets right now. So I was requesting to have any fees removed and I can pay the past due amount that's for rent.
Okay. Well, how much are you saying that you can pay?
So
And
I
when?
can pay that within the next 10 to 14 days, and I can pay the past due amount. So my base, I can pay two past months of my base pay and have all of the fees removed.
Well, I don't know if they're going to remove all of the fees. We can figure that out at a later time. How much can you pay on this?
So I can pay the $4,000 within the next 10 to 14 days.
All right. Then here's what I'm going to do. Can you pay anything prior to next week?
As I mentioned, I'm in a process of liquidating some assets, so it should be available by the end of next week if possible. But I gave a range of 10 to 14 days because I'm not sure when the deposit will be coming.
Okay. All right. Well, here's what I'm going to do. You can call plaintiff's counsel's office, see if you can work something out in terms of those fees as well as in terms of a payment. I'll adjourn this out to March 28th, 2025 at 3 p.m. That's an in-person hearing, ma'am. And we'll
March
see if we can
28th
get
at
this
3
all done.
p.m. March 28th
Yes, ma'am.
at 3 p.m. Thank you, Your Honor. Have a good day.
Thank you, Your
You
Honor.
too.
I'll see you later.
All righty. Take care. Six Trails versus Sean Dixon.
Morning, Your Honor. Cheryl Wolkoff on behalf of the plaintiff.
Oh my goodness. We've missed that voice. Hello, Ms. Luckoff. How are you?
How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing well.
Good.
She's here. He's here.
Yes.
Sean Dixon?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, there you are. Okay, what is plaintiff's claim in this case?
Your Honor, rent to retain here, $1,106.97. Court cost $181. The total balance, $1,287.97.
All right. And Mr. Dixon, how are you intending on getting that paid?
I actually paid it, and they told me at the office to make sure that I do not miss the hearing. Just in
Okay, so
case.
you say you paid it?
Yes.
All right. So what I'll do is I'll adjourn this out 1 week, March 28th, 2025 at 2 p.m. If you paid it, they're going to dismiss it out. Make sure that you paid that as well as the court cost and everything. All
Yes,
right.
sir.
And then it's likely it'll be dismissed. Okay.
I just want to make sure the date once more. You said the 28th at 2 p.m.
Yes. Next Friday at 2 p.m. That's an in-person hearing. So if it's not paid, you got to be here.
Okay, I understand.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Six Trails versus Thorpe versus Roy versus, I'm sorry, Ann Arbor Club Apartments versus Clausen, Ann Arbor Club versus Jones. Those matters are dismissed on plaintiff's motion without prejudice. I think that's it for you,
Very
Ms.
much.
Luckoff.
That is it.
All righty.
Nice
Thank
to see
you.
you. Take care.
Yes, nice seeing you. Hope all is well.
Thanks. Likewise. Take care.
Take care. Carpenter Place Apartments versus Richard Bobo.
Good morning, Your Honor. Jillian Ingen for plaintiff.
Richard Bobo, not here. If you'd like to take a default.
Yes,
raise your
please,
right
Your Honor.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm testimony you're about to give will be the truth, whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Go ahead.
Thank you. This is a termination of tenancy case. A notice to quit was sent on January 24th, 2025 for lease violations. The vacate date was February 28th, 2025. Defendant still has possession of the unit, and at this time, plaintiff is requesting a default judgment for possession only with a writ to issue after 10 days.
Judgment to the plaintiff, that's by default for possession, no redemption amount, writ to issue in 10 days. Glencoe Hills versus Angela Newkirk Tucker and Craig Tucker.
Jillian Ingen for plaintiff.
Are they here? Angela Newkirk Tucker. What do you say here right there?
How you doing?
Okay.
Angela Stucker.
All right. Very good. I knew they usually are here. So
It's two different Angelas on here. I'm Stoker.
yeah, they are. And you are Angela Tucker.
No, I'm Angela Stoker. So I go back mute.
Oh, you're not the one I'm looking for. We'll
I'm
call
sorry.
your case in a minute.
Okay.
All right. So on the Angela Newkirk Tucker and Craig Tucker, you may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. This is a case for non-payment of rent. Rent to retain possession is $790. Court costs are $212 for a total of $1,002. Plaintiff is requesting a default judgment for possession only with a writ to issue after 10 days.
Judgment to the plaintiff by default for possession, redemption amount in the amount requested, writ issue 10 days. Glencoe Hills versus Angela Stoker.
Jillian Ingen for
Now
plaintiff.
you're up. Now you're up. Okay. All right. What is plaintiff's claim in this case?
I have a balance including court costs of $720.37.
All right. And ma'am, how are you intending on getting that paid?
When I can, I guess. I need a couple days.
Okay. You need a couple days to get it paid?
Yeah,
Can-
I'm in the midst of
Can you
getting.
get it paid? Go ahead. I'm sorry.
My apologies. I'm in the midst of getting some services, government services, to help me pay it.
Okay. Have you
I'm
applied for what have you applied for?
a SER through DHS.
Okay. So you applied for an SER. How many people are in your household?
It's me and my two children.
So 3. Okay, so that you know that will get you $620 if it's approved. So you're still going to be a little short. You're going to be about 100 short.
That's fine. I can do the
Okay.
100. I can't do the 7.
Pardon?
I can't pay the full 7, but I can do the $100 or so.
Okay, so how much do you think you can pay? All right, so a couple things. First thing that you need to do is if you applied for an SCR, you're going to need in your packet that was sent to you, as well as there is not a QR code on this, as well as in the chat, you can, we'll put a link in. There's a rental assistance form that you'll need to fill out, okay? And submit it to the court by this Wednesday.
Wednesday, I can do that.
Okay, and have your tracking number on it. And then you think you can pay $100 prior to the 27th, you think?
Yes,
Your Honor, if you want to put it over for 2 weeks, that might just be.
Okay, I'm not available in 2 weeks.
Oh, then I guess 1 week is fine.
Yeah.
Thank you, Your Honor.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set this for March 28th, 2024, 25, because I'm going to go back in time. 2025 at 1 p.m. Okay, ma'am, that's an in-person hearing. Okay, so get the $100 paid and maybe we'll have an answer from SCR by that point. All right?
Yes, sir. You said the 28th.
Yes, ma'am.
At what time?
What did I say?
1 p.m.
1 p.m.
Okay, thank you so much.
All righty, thank you. Have a great weekend.
You too.
Glencoe Hills versus Dwayne Warren.
Jillian Engen for plaintiff.
Dwayne Warren, not checked in. You may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. This is a case for non-payment of rent. Rent to retain possession is $769.61. Court costs are $171 for a total of $940.61. Plaintiff is requesting a default judgment for possession only with a writ to issue after 10 days.
Judgment to the plaintiff, that's by default for possession, redemption amount in the amount requested, writ to issue 10 days. Glencoe Hills versus Isaiah Little.
Jillian Engen for plaintiff.
Oh, there he is. Your name, sir?
Yeah, my name is Isaiah Little.
All right. What is plaintiff's claim in this case?
Your Honor, I have a balance including court costs of $2,611.20.
All right. Mr. Little, how were you intending on getting that paid?
I was gonna apply for services through Hawk. I'm gonna call them after this because I think they needed an updated ledger or something like that, and I was waiting to get it. So I'm gonna call Hawk and try to get assistance on the 2,600. But I know for sure I'm gonna have April's rent on the 1st. So I'm just trying to make sure I can see if I can get help on the 2,600, so that way I can pay April's rent on the 1st.
Okay, how much is your monthly rent?
I think it's like $1,159 plus like fees, like 20. I can't know. It's just like 1,159 plus fees.
Okay,
Utilities.
gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So, is there anything you can pay before next week? No?
Yeah, I don't really get any money until about the 28th.
Mr. Little,
All right.
Your Honor,
Yes.
if I may ask, Mr. Little, did you get a Hawk payment in December of 2024?
I believe so. I don't really remember the service, what service I applied for, but I did get assistance. Yeah.
Your Honor, I believe, Mr. Little, I see a check in the amount of $3,000 from December 2024. I don't know if Mr. Little would qualify for assistance through Hawk. I don't know if that's something Amy can answer.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know if it's
I don't know
calendar
if it's
year
calendar.
or a year. All right. Well, we'll give him the opportunity to apply. Maybe there's other funding or other things out there that you can do. But I'm going to adjourn this in 1 week. March 28th, 2025 at 1 p.m. Okay. You'll need to, if you apply through Hawk or an SCR, state emergency relief, you need to file a rental assistance form with the court.
Okay, you said March 28th at 1 p.m.
Yes, sir.
All right,
And
thank you.
that's an in-person hearing.
Okay,
All right.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
Glencoe Hills versus Daniel Worth.
Jillian Engen for plaintiff.
Daniel Worth, not checked in. You may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. This is a case for non-payment of rent. Rent to retain possession is $1,174.81. Court costs are $171 for a total of $1,345.81. Plaintiff is requesting a default judgment for possession only with a writ to issue after 10 days.
Judgment to the plaintiff. That's by default for possession, redemption amount, any amount requested, writ to issue 10 days. Gulfside Lakes versus Erica Hall.
Jillian Engen for plaintiff.
Hello, state your name.
Erica Hall.
See, I got it that time, right?
Yeah.
So you don't have to yell at me. All right. What's the claim in this case?
I have a balance including court costs of $2,121.68. And for the record, Your Honor, I don't know that Ms. Hall has ever yelled at you.
Pardon?
Ms. Hall, I don't think she's ever yelled at you.
Oh,
For the record.
No, you're right. She yelled with the face look at me when she was here. It felt like I was being yelled at. Okay, Ms. Hall, how are you intending on getting this paid?
Well, I had made a little payment plan, but you're not available in 2 weeks, so I can make a payment of $200 tomorrow, and then I was intending to pay $500 on the 29th, but I know that's a Saturday. But it's because I do hair, so I have to go by my clients.
I got you. Okay, so let's do this. Pay the $200 by the 27th. Get that paid before that day. I'll adjourn this out in person to the 28th, 2025 at 1 p.m. Okay, so that'd be in person. And then what I'm going to suggest you do is contact the attorney's office and see what you can work out.
Okay. Can I get the phone number for the attorney?
It should be on your paperwork.
Okay.
Okay. The Fink law. Fink. Got it?
It'll be under James A. Fink, yes.
Okay, and that's next Friday at 1.
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
All right. Thank you. It was nice not having her yell at me with her face. We're good. I feel better now. All right. You take care.
Okay.
Have a good weekend.
You too.
Gulfside Lakes versus Jonathan Henderson.
Jillian Engen for plaintiff.
Jonathan Henderson, not here. You may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. This is a case for non-payment of rent. Rent to retain possession is $2,757.89. Court costs are $172 for a total of $2,929.89. Plaintiff is requesting a default judgment for possession only with a writ to issue after 10 days.
Judgment to the plaintiff. That's by default for possession, redemption amount, any requested with the writ to issue in 10 days. The court does call the case Gulfside Lakes versus Aisha Slayton Mitchell.
Jillian Engen for plaintiff.
They are not checked in. You may proceed.
Thank you. This is a case for non-payment of rent. Rent to retain possession is $1,522.09. Court costs of $214 for a total of $1,736.09. Plaintiff is requesting a default judgment for possession only with a writ to issue after 10 days.
Judgment to the plaintiff by default for possession, redemption amount, any amount requested, writ to issue in 10 days. Gulfside Lakes versus Mia Salvano. Mia Salvano, not checked in. You may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. This is a case, plaintiff is requesting a default judgment. I do want to make the court aware that she contacted the landlord and requested that her case be adjourned to next Friday. She's a waitress, doesn't want to miss work to attend the hearing. I think she might have left a message with the court, but I am asking for, I guess, so I'm leaving it to the court's discretion, but plaintiff is asking for a judgment at this time since she is not.
I'm going to allow the default.
Okay, thank you, Your Honor. I have rent to retain possession of $2,851.25. court costs of $172 for a total of $3,023.25. Plaintiff is requesting a default judgment for possession only with a writ to issue after 10 days. And Your Honor, for the record, I believe she intends to pay she told my client she intends to pay by the 31st as well.
Okay, judgment to the plaintiff, that's by default for possession. Redemption amount in the amount requested with the writ issue in 10 days. Gulfside Lakes versus Justin Willis.
Jillian Engen for plaintiff.
Hello.
Hello, Mr. Willis.
How are you, sir?
And also Karina Combs.
Yeah, my wife's here as well. She's just taking care of our child. We have a small young daughter, so, but,
All right. Okay, you're here.
Yes, sir.
What is plaintiff's claim?
Your Honor, I have a balance including court costs of $3,789.28.
All right. And sir, how do you guys intend on getting that paid?
I've been in contact, as I told Melissa, do it from McKinley. We have an SER going on with the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services. And with them, between them, Hawk, I think the third one, St. Vincent de Paul, they're going to help us with the arrears, and I'll be able to make April 1st payment. This all started because of a layoff, and I'll be back to normal by the 1st. So at any rate.
Gotcha. So did you have your Hawk appointment already?
No. We had filed originally the SCR at the end of February, and everything was approved there to help with the DTE stuff. And they said yesterday that if they continued the current one, that they would only have 2 days time because of, I guess it times out after every 30 days. It would stop on the 26th or the 24th or something. And they wanted us to, they said it would be better if we just reapplied at the end of today with
Got it.
The hearing.
Okay,
give them more time to process. They didn't think the other agencies would be able to turn around in 2 days.
All right. So apply for your SER.
Yes.
Make sure that in your packet, there should have been a rental assistance form, or you can look into chat and get a link.
Yes, I seen it. I have it, sir.
All right. Fill that out. That needs to be filed with the court by next Wednesday.
No problem. Yes, sir.
All right. And then make sure that you contact Hawk. I'll adjourn this out to the 28th, 2025 at 1 p.m.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right. That's an in-person hearing.
Okay. What was the time again, sir?
1 o'clock.
1 o'clock. 1 o'clock on the 28th. Yes, sir.
All right. Okay. Thank you. Have a good weekend.
You too. Goodbye. Thank you, sir.
Bye-bye. Evergreen Apartments versus Lavinia Kendricks Haynes.
Jillian Engen for plaintiff.
Can you hear me, ma'am?
I can hear you now.
Okay, we can hear you. Fantastic.
Okay.
All right.
Sorry about that, Your Honor.
No, it's okay. It's okay. What is plaintiff's claim in the case?
Your Honor, I have a balance including court costs of $3,237.66.
All right. And how are you intending on getting this paid?
Well, I have an appointment with Hawk on April the 1st.
On April 1st.
Yes.
Okay. What did I do for the 11th? I can't do the 4th.
The 11th.
Did I put any in the afternoon or no?
Let me check. I'm sorry. I don't know.
How much is your monthly rent?
$12.69.
Okay. All right. So what I thought I had in the afternoon. Okay. So the problem's going to be that you're going to have to get this down. If Hawk pays, you're going to have to get this down below 3,000.
So how much would I need to pay?
It would, right now, it would be 237.66. But if we get ourselves into April, then that'll get tacked on to that.
It's looking like it's probably going to be at least $1,500 or $1,600.
Right.
before late fees.
You got that?
Yeah, I got that.
Okay, so here's what I'm gonna do. And let me adjourn this out to the 28th next week, 2025 at 1 p.m. in person. Okay? And try to figure out how you're gonna get. I know that's before your Hawk appointment. Your Hawk appointment isn't until the 1st, but we're
Right.
gonna have to try to figure out what this is gonna look like and how we're gonna do this.
So how much do I need to come up with to make all over total? Because I would like to get April's rent paid so that doesn't fall on me.
Ms. Kendricks-Haynes,
So
you might
here's
be
what's
able
gonna
to. Oh,
happen.
sorry.
If you add your April rent in, then you're gonna be around $1,600 that you'd have to come up with if you're approved for Hawk for the 3,000.
And Ms. Kendricks-Haynes, soon you'll be able to preview April's charges, and so you'll be able to see what the balance is going to be in April, and then you can just take 3,000 off of that, and that's going to be what you'll have to pay. If you have any questions, you can contact Sydney.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that sounds good.
Okay. So I'll put it over to next week at 1 o'clock. That's an in-person hearing.
Okay,
Okay?
thank you, Judge.
Thank you.
Okay, now how do I get off of here?
Okay. You can actually just leave the room. We'll take care of it. Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Evergreen Apartments versus Thomas Fleming
Jillian Engen for plaintiff.
and LT Johnson. And there's Mr. Fleming.
Oh, you just unmuted.
Can you unmute, Mr. Fleming? I see you staring. You're staring hard, but I don't know.
Mr. Fleming, if you're pressing the space bar, you have to hold it down while you talk.
Oh,
There you
okay.
go.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay.
All right. What's the plaintiff's claim in this case?
I have a balance including court costs of $1,292.
Okay, Mr. Fleming, how are you going to get that paid?
Actually, the money should be in the bank today between
All right.
between 10:30 and 1 o'clock.
All right. So you can get this balance paid sometime early part of next week?
I'm trying to get it paid today after court.
Okay, that's fine. So here's what I'm going to do. Get this paid by next Wednesday, the 26th, okay? Or soon. You can pay it whenever you need to, but pay it definitely by then. Then I'm going to adjourn your case out to the 28th, next Friday, 2025 at 1 p.m. If everything is paid, you don't need to show up.
All right.
Okay?
Okay.
All right. Fantastic. Thank you, Mr. Fleming. You have a great weekend.
You too.
Evergreen Apartments versus Carlos Warden.
Jillian Engen for plaintiff.
Carlos Warden, not checked in. You may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. This is a case for non-payment of rent. Rent to retain possession is $1,135.70. Court costs of $172 for a total of $1,307.70. Plaintiff is requesting a default judgment for possession only with a writ to issue after 10 days.
Judgment to the plaintiff by default for possession, redemption amount, any amount requested, writ to issue in 10 days. Evergreen Apartments versus Michelle Balestri.
Jillian Engen for plaintiff.
Balestri or Anthony Balestri, not checked in. You may proceed.
Thank you. This is a case for non-payment of rent. Rent to retain possession is $3,267.56. Court costs are $214 for a total of $3,481.56. Plaintiff is requesting a default judgment for possession only with a writ to issue after 10 days.
Judgment to the plaintiff by default for possession, redemption amount, any amount requested, writ to issue 10 days. Evergreen Apartments versus Matthew Chavez.
Jillian Engen for plaintiff.
Matthew Chavez, you'll need to unmute and turn the camera on.
Okay, unmute. Unmute and turn the camera. Yeah. How do I turn the
Okay,
camera?
while you work on that with the camera to get that on, what is plaintiff's claim?
Your Honor, I have a balance including court costs of $1,723.18.
Mr. Chavez, how were you intending on getting that paid? Oh, you muted.
Hello?
Yes, we can hear you.
You can hear me now.
How are you intending on getting that paid?
Well, I'm actually in the middle of contacting a lawyer because I got to see exactly what my options are. What they're doing is they're basically charging me for something that I don't have. This is basically added up pet rent for a long time, and I have an ESA. He's not subject to pet rent, and I got to figure out exactly what I can do here. If it ends up,
so I'll give you 1 week to get yourself in contact with an attorney. I'll adjourn this out to March 28th, 2025 at 1 p.m. That is an in-person hearing, so you'll need to be here. Okay?
Your Honor.
all right, thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, Mr. Chavez, it is my understanding that you're trying to register your dog as an ESA. I think that my client is asking for updated vet records. The ones that were provided were from 2020.
I understand that, but they have the pet records. I gave them his pet records when I moved in, and that doesn't make him a pet because of his shot records. It doesn't like default him to being a pet. He's still an ESA.
Sir, if you don't want to supply, they've asked you for the vet records. If you don't want to supply them, then we'll see you next week.
Okay, thank you, Your Honor.
Court calls the case of Evergreen Apartments versus Nicholas Hoyt. Yeah.
Jillian Engen for plaintiff.
Not checked in, you may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. This is a case for non-payment of rent. Rent to retain possession is $2,515.35. Court costs are $172 for a total of $2,687.35. Plaintiff is requesting a default judgment for possession only with a writ to issue after 10 days.
Judgment to the plaintiff by default for possession. Redemption amount is in the amount requested with the writ to issue in 10 days. All right, let's try this one. Court calls the case of Lakestone Apartments versus Nicole Murdoch.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Attorney Samantha Sprague, P81931, appearing on behalf of the plaintiff.
Ms. Murdoch?
Yes, sir.
All right. And where are we on this case?
Your Honor, I do show that we still have a past due balance in the amount of $5,097.12, along with court costs in the amount of $252, for a total due and owing of $5,349.12.
Ms. Murdoch?
Yes, sir.
How are you going to get that paid?
Yes, sir. So let me explain, Your Honor. Hawk did pay $3,000. I asked Hawk for verification of payment to submit to DHS. She got it to me after the 11th, which I had to resubmit the DHS payment, Judge Simpson. So the additional $820 is on its way. I've been in contact daily with the property manager out here, Sabrina. My bathroom flooded about 3 weeks ago. The tenant upstairs had it storming in my restroom. I'm getting up for work. I missed work. They wrote me a letter for work. I had only been with my employer under 60 days and they terminated me. I do have a job. I start Monday morning by the grace of God. And my unemployment is rolling. Sabrina and I have talked about it and it'll be paid. She said she would let the attorney know. She seems to, I don't know what's going on with that, but.
Your Honor, if I may.
Please.
My client did apprise me that Ms. Murdoch had requested a payment plan. Unfortunately, her payment plan would not cover current rent, mighty on the past due rent. Although Ms. Murdoch seems certain that she'll get the $800 from DHHS, that would still leave a deficit of almost $4,000. She is correct that her property manager had attempted to get a special concession for her from upper management. However, that was denied. And so we do not have the ability to enter into a payment agreement where we'd be receiving less than what is going to be ongoing.
My lease is up in less than 2 months. I just received a certification paper, which is really ironic. Sabrina knows I've been an upstanding tenant here. The unit looks as if I still moved in. Maintenance has said that umpteen daily times. My son and I have paid my rent. Sometime life flights. People do lose their job. And I mentioned to Sabrina out here, I understand they even do they have a program out here if you don't have a job that you're allowed to pay zero rent out here. I was unaware of the situation. I mentioned it to Sabrina. She told me to get the balance paid and come recertification, that those options would be discussed. So the monthly rent could be paid, Your Honor, come April 1st. There will be a $1,500 payment put in there. And then I will give $800 Wednesday and before next Wednesday, before the 4th. I've discussed this with Sabrina. I guess upper management declined. So I guess I don't know what to say moving forward then.
All right, here's what I'm gonna
But my
do.
lease is
You can
up in 2
still,
months.
I'm gonna give you an opportunity to try to still work with them. But I'm gonna, after hearing, I'm gonna find that there's no tribal issue. I'm gonna grant plaintiff a judgment for the total amount due and owing of $5,349.12. I will extend the order of eviction date or writ date to April 7th, 2025.
Thank you, Your Honor. It'll be paid.
Okay, thank
So
you.
once it's paid, that writ no longer stands, correct, Your Honor?
The what?
Once it's paid, that means I don't have to be put out, correct?
If you pay the $5,349 and what's it, 12 cents,
Yes, sir.
then that's correct. No order of eviction will come off of that judgment. But you have to
Okay,
do that
cool.
you have to do that by the 7th.
Yes, sir.
All right. And this doesn't include your April rent. So
I understand that. The April rent will be paid as well, Your Honor.
all right. Thank you.
Thank
Your
you.
Honor.
Court calls the case of Homestead Commons versus Diane Chapman.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Attorney Carrie Zanon on behalf of plaintiff.
Good
Good
afternoon.
afternoon, Your Honor. Ron French appearing on behalf of Ms. Chapman.
I had asked him to be off my case. He was,
Who?
Mr. Frank was supposed to be off my case. He's not supposed to be appearing. He called the law firm that assigned him, and I sent him an email and told him to withdraw. I actually think.
Yeah, that's why I'm appearing, Your Honor, to withdraw on the case.
So the parties are in agreement to withdraw?
No, no,
I'm in agreement, Your Honor.
I know.
he's in agreement, but he didn't explain stuff appropriately to me, and then he started.
Okay, so ma'am, you don't, the only thing the withdrawal has to do with is you don't want him as your attorney, right?
Yeah.
He doesn't want to be your attorney.
Yeah.
So
He
I
didn't show up for court the last time. He didn't tell me.
okay, so you don't want him as your attorney, right? Am I correct in that?
Yes, sir.
And counsel, you have no objection to withdrawing on this or to the court ordering withdrawal?
No objection at all, Your Honor. We're asking.
All right. Counsel is relieved of any further obligations from this case.
Thank you,
Have
Judge.
a good weekend.
Good luck
Thank
to
you. Okay. All right. What are we doing on this case? How much is owing?
Judge, this is actually termination.
Well,
of
this is a
tenancy.
termination.
This was a end of lease. Lease expired on January 21st, 2025. Notice to quit was actually sent on December 4th, 2024, indicating that Ms. Chapman should move by February 3rd, 2025. So at this point, Your Honor, I'm asking for a judgment of possession with a writ issue in 10 days. I know that we, when counsel was on, we spoke about giving some additional time to vacate, and the offer was through 45 days, which would be the end of April, Judge, with payments for rent for March and April. I don't know where Ms. Chapman stands on that. I'm still willing to offer that, but I don't believe there's a triable issue.
So what happened is this is a retaliatory eviction because I filed a civil rights complaint based on the fact that I needed handicap parking and that I needed accommodations not to be forced to take the internet. And so when
You needed accommodations for what?
not to have the internet, I had been involved in an accident. They were forcing me, trying to force me to take the internet. And you can't force people, and Fair Housing was working with me. And so when I started asking about getting my money back,
Folks, goodness gracious, okay, go ahead.
so they started threatening me to evict me, to retaliate. And so that's how I ended up here because they didn't make me in the accommodations.
But your lease is ended.
Yeah, because she kept holding, I got the proof that I would go in to try to sign the lease. She told
Yeah,
me.
but your lease ended, they don't have to offer you.
I understand that, but my lease had not ended. And they offered me a renewal. And then what they did was when I went in to sign it, they would never let me sign it. She told me, don't help me. And so I'm leaving anyway.
When are you leaving?
I'm not sure as to the exact date, but I need time to move out. So
how much time do you need to move out?
This is Grace from SOS, Your Honor. I'm here with Ms. Chapman.
Yes, go ahead. What do you want to say?
Ms. Chapman is working with Haverhill on Clark, which is a new property up in, I believe, Pittsfield Township. And we are just waiting for them to finish the last bit of their construction for her to be able to move in. I believe she should
So
be
when is that going to happen?
early April is what we're working on.
I offered to
so
give her.
I was going to try to be out of there prior to that, but Mr. Jackson from Civil Rights had called them and asked them to wait 60 days. They would not wait 60 days, and the lease wasn't over.
I don't have any of that in front of me, but here's what I'm going to do. I'm sorry. My understanding is that you're going to move in any event.
I am going to. Yes, sir.
All right. So any claims that you have, which might be monetary claims, can be dealt with otherwise for any type of violation that you have. But you're saying you want to move. My understanding is that your unit should be ready by mid-April.
Yes, sir. I can go check today.
Well,
SOS just said that, I believe, correct?
Pardon? Yeah, I know.
Yes, we have not been given an official date, but that is what they've been saying for move-in dates to just in general from Haverhill.
And then I have another apartment complex, 2 more that just reached out to me. So I was going to go meet with them on Monday to do the paperwork. Not just that one place, there's 2 other places, so it's a total of 3 places.
Everybody done?
Excuse me?
Is everybody done? Okay, good. I'm going to grant a judgment for possession, finding no tribal issue after hearing in this case. And there is no redemption amount. The writ will issue April 25th.
Thank you, Judge. I'll submit a judgment.
What does that mean?
They'll be out before then?
Yeah, you need to be out before then. I've extended it. Pardon?
Do I have an eviction on my?
Well, I'm issuing judgment, yes, because there's no agreement between the parties.
But, Your Honor, I'm just trying to go ahead and get out, and because I didn't want to get a judgment. I just wanted to just work out time to move out because Mr. French didn't tell me. He's telling me.
Counsel, put on the judgment that if she moves out, the court will set the judgment aside.
Absolutely, Judge.
Have a good day. Thank you.
Thank you.
Court calls the case Sycamore Meadows versus Jabria Story.
Again, Carrie Zanin on behalf of plaintiff. Your Honor, you can actually, I know Ms. Emily's on as well, so I'll let her put her appearance
Okay,
on.
go ahead. She doesn't have to go through the whole thing, so this will be quick. Go ahead.
Hello, Your Honor. Emily Brule, P88273 for defendant story.
All right. What are we doing on this?
Judge, can we have an adjourn date? I was looking for April 11th, but I know that that's a limited docket. I heard you say that again this afternoon.
It is.
So I don't know if you want to, because I was going to ask all of the Sycamore files to be adjourned to the same date that are up today. I know that opposing counsel is out of town that day. If you want to put us on April 18th, that would work for me as well.
All right. No objection to that. April 18th, 2025 at 12 p.m. And then, I don't know, are any of the other tenants here? Sycamore Meadows versus Demetria Brown.
She was on via Zoom, Judge.
Miss Brown, you're
I am
in Zoom?
representing Ms. Brown, so that.
You
that's-
are?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Sycamore Meadows versus Jeremy Rawls.
I am also representing Mr. Rawls.
Okay, so who don't you represent? No, I'm kidding. Sycamore Meadows versus Katina Davis.
Also that one, but that's the last one.
Okay, fine. Just Sycamore Meadows versus Tamara Jackson. No, really? Okay, she's not here. Sycamore Meadows versus Denisha McCoy. You're right here. Okay, you have any objection to me adjourning it to April 18th, ma'am? You have to fill out the paperwork and we'll consider it. I can't guarantee it, okay?
And I'm under house.
Where are you a student? Oh, they let you go. No, I'm kidding. If you want to file a Zoom request, we can try to do it that way for you, okay? What? It's not going to resolve today. They're trying to put everything over, okay? Here's the problem, Ms. Jemerson, and why all of the Sycamore Meadows are being put over to that date is because what is really happening, there's a bit of change, basically in management and other things there, and they've got to get all of the records together and everything so that these cases can be resolved. Okay? So I'll adjourn it out to the 18th and do that. And if you want to file a Zoom request, we'll consider that so that if you're in class or at school, you can do that. You're welcome. What are you studying?
Cybersecurity.
Cybersecurity? Really? Congratulations. You'll get there. All right. Then, is that it for you, Ms. Annan?
Judge, I was standing in for Mr. Devlin, but I believe his is a dismissal.
Is it in my hand? HP Foreclosure Solution LLC versus Rosetta Williams. That matter is dismissed on plaintiff's motion without prejudice. That's it.
Thank you. Have a wonderful weekend.
All right, you too. Is that it for you also, counsel?
Yes, thank you, Your Honor.
All right, take care.
Your
Have a great
Honor.
weekend. I still got all these people staring at me. Let's see what's going on. Court calls the case, Isle Farms versus Wakima Jackson.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Cindy Fontanella, P86316 for the plaintiff.
Good afternoon, Ms. Fontanella. They are not here. If you'd like to take a default, raise your right hand. Oh, well, actually, this is a writ hearing, isn't it?
No, Your Honor, this is actually a motion hearing.
Oh,
This is our motion to
your
request,
motion.
yes, to request removal / demolition of the home on site. If I may go ahead
Have a sticker.
put some arguments on the record, Your Honor.
Pardon?
I
Go
said if
ahead.
thank you. Your Honor, I believe that back in 2024, a judgment was entered back in September, and then the writ was subsequently executed. The tenant did vacate. It's an owned home. However, the tenant has left it on the site, abandoned it. Our lien has been released. And so at this time, due to the nature of the home, it's just not in good shape. And so we're requesting that we be able to remove / demo the home on site pursuant to our motion.
All right. Having failed to appear, And hearing no objection, your motion is granted, and I have signed the order.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Court calls the case of Scio Farms versus Tiffany Copeland.
Sydney Fontanella for the plaintiff, Your Honor.
Hello. What's your name?
Sydney Copeland.
All right. I set this for hearing, I think. Yes, we did. And the reason, and I don't know if council knows this, the reason, when did you post that? Right, on March.
Yeah.
March 7th. Defendant posted $5,000. And so we released, that should have been released to plaintiff, but it looks like it has not gotten there yet. And so I was going to try to give her an opportunity to redeem, given the amount of money that she had paid.
Your Honor, I did show that there was also $915 that had been put into escrow, which we had requested to be released. Was that released as well?
Yes, all of the escrow. So what was released to plaintiff was $5,915, but I don't see it. My register of actions does not show it paid out. We still have all of it. That needs to get to plaintiff right away. So if I take that off, how much more does she owe?
Okay, Your Honor. So before applying anything, there is rent of $7,265.73, court costs of $189, for a total of $7,454.73. If we take into account the $5,915 in escrow, I do believe that leaves a balance of $1,539.73.
73 cents.
Yes.
All right. When can you get that paid?
The thing is, I have one, but the issue is that I had a water leak. And so I was told in December that they were waiving the water fees. They cut the water off December 3rd. They charged me for a full month of $918 for sewer and water. Now, I was told by Janet, who works in the office, that they were taking away the December fee.
Let me stop you right there. Ms. Fontanella, do you know anything about that?
So, Your Honor, I did get some information from my client. So Miss Copeland owns her home, and if there's a leak in the home, she is responsible for that leak. And she does own the home. That leak, unfortunately, is her responsibility. I did speak with my clients, not me personally. I believe Miss Matson from our office did speak with them, and they confirmed that they did speak with Miss Copeland, but they did not agree to waive any of the water sewer balance because she does own her own home.
Yeah. And you own your home?
I own my own home, but on their end, there's a new water meter that needs to be replaced. Her Z plumbers who came out and did the plumbing work, because I repiped the whole house. So as they said that it was a water leak, I had to wait until the.
I remember you told me that.
Repiped everything. And so I did, and I wouldn't lie. The Janice did say that they were gonna waive the water bill fee because I guess somehow like I said, the water was turned off December 3rd, but I was still getting billed for the whole month of December. And I guess the water leaks maybe started in November, because I got billed for November and December. I got a phone call, like I said, from Janet telling me it was a water leak, something going on. I'm like, well, there's no water leak in the house, so what's going on? But I guess it's under the house. So, like I said, I had 2 companies come out to do an inspection.
All right, but what? Let me ask you this. What part of the water leak are you claiming is attributable to Scio Farms?
So it was a leak on their side as well. So I guess where it meets, it was damage on both sides.
Do you have anything that indicates that?
So Z Plumbers is supposed to email me some information regarding that, because they're the one who told me that it needs to be replaced.
So what you're telling me is that part of the water leak was at the meter. And then part of it was at yours.
Yes.
Okay.
That's the reason of disputes. Other than that, I would.
Okay. People dispute for all kinds of reasons, but yours is making sense to me. All right. So Ms. Fontanella, you probably don't know anything about that, right?
Your Honor, I don't have any information regarding there being a leak on Sile Farm's side. I have information that she had the leak under her home, but my understanding is the way that these water meters work is even if it was a water leak on Sile Farm's side, Sile Farms would have been billed for that usage. They wouldn't have attributed that to Miss Copeland's bill. It would have been automatically billed to Sile Farm.
Right, but let me ask this, and maybe this is what it's going to be a leak, part of the leak at a point that is going to cause some confusion. The inlet part of prior to the meter would be Sile Farm side, clearly. At what point is it the tenant upon leaving the meter? Because that's going to be different places.
I am not sure, Your Honor. I do believe that it's, and my manager, Patty, is here as well. I don't know if she can provide some additional clarification as to it.
I apologize, Your Honor. Can you repeat your question?
Okay, what's clear to me is that the water line coming into the meter is going to be Sile Farms side. So at different places, it's different, but upon it leaving the meter, is there a point that is still Sile Farms and then ultimately becomes the tenant so that the hookup isn't immediately after the meter? Or is the hookup to the home tenant?
So it's from under the ground. So you have under the home, you have your water riser. So from the riser to the meter itself is all Sile Farms. Anything that's flowing through there right up to the meter does not go through the meter. She would not be charged for anything right in there. Once it hits the meter and starts pushing that dial forward, that's when she's going to start getting billed.
Right. Okay. But if there is I get when she's going to be billed.
Yep.
Who supplies that line that the home hooks onto?
So the meter and everything is from the meter and all that shut off beyond that is all ours to maintain.
Say that again.
So you have your meter and then beyond that should be like a shut off and then you go down into the riser. All of that is ours to maintain.
As the water's coming in.
Yep. And sometimes there's another secondary shut off, before, after past the meter, like between the meter and the house.
That's what
that would still be hers to maintain. Yeah.
Okay. So what you're indicating to me is anything after the meter would be the homeowners to maintain.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay. And you disagree with that?
Only because, like I said, the professional company came out there and told me I needed a new meter, and that.
Right, but the meter is not who puts the meters in out there?
These meters I think were redone a couple of years ago. They're called speed read meters, so they are very accurate. They read to the 10th gallon. So
no, I got that, but what I'm getting at is Sile Farms installed those meters.
Yeah, they had a contractor come out and install them, and then we maintain. Like if something happens and they need to switch out parts, we order the parts and bring them in, and either our maintenance or a third party will change them.
Gotcha. No, I got it. Okay, so if it needs a new meter, Sile Farms would have to do that, but somebody needs to get that information to Sile Farms and have them check that meter, but.
Yeah, I called, I spoke with Leah, and she was supposed to call me back with the, maintenance guy with the information, but I haven't heard anything.
You mean you called somebody named Leah from Sile Farms?
Yeah, I've been keeping them updated on everything, and I've been talking to the magistrate. And, so like I said, the place been empty, so that's why I was questioning stuff, because I'm like, how's water still going? And no one's been in there, and then the water was shut off December 3rd, and I still didn't bill for the full month of December.
All right, here's what I'm gonna do. Everybody bring me their information. I'm gonna set a non-jury trial on this matter, April 1st. On the remaining balance, April 1st, 2025 at 9 a.m.
Thank you.
And then that way I'll take a look at it and then I'll just make a call on it. That way I can make everybody unhappy. All
Your
right.
Honor, I would just request that Miss Copeland send us that information that she has, at least by the 26th.
Can you do that? Okay, make sure not to Sile Farms, but to the attorney's office.
Oh, okay.
Okay, that the information should be on your paperwork. Okay, so just make sure it's sent to them so they can look at it and talk to their client. All right. Thank you. You have a great weekend. Court calls the case of Sile Farms versus Antoine Bailey.
City Sentinel for the plaintiff, Your Honor.
Antoine, oh, there you are. I thought that was you, but I didn't see you get up anytime fast. All right, your name? Okay, and how much do we have owing on this?
Your Honor, I'm showing that there is current rent due of $3,318.73. Court costs of $190 for a total of $3,508.73.
All right. And I know last time we were here, did you get a hawk appointment?
It's not until the 31st, but I got all my stuff right now. I owe $3,600.
Pardon?
I don't have a hawk appointment until the 31st, but I know the last time I came to court, you told me to make sure I got my documentation. So I don't owe $3,600. I just got these people.
How much do you?
I owe them $1,000.89. I mean, I thought $1,089.25.
Okay, when's the last time you made a payment?
I paid $4,970 in December.
Your Honor, if I may.
Can I please just speak now? Please.
I will let everybody speak. So I don't think anybody did anything. Just go ahead. Well, that's because she's on Zoom. And so she's going to say something that happens. Go ahead with what you were saying.
So yeah, paid $5,000. I did make an agreement to pay half of the rent that I owed in November. I was 36 something. So I detailed all the checks as to what they should go to. So I detailed the one check for November, which was $1,837.25. It was actually overpayment because I heard the amount wrong. I had a check for $11, then I had two checks for $1,000.
Okay. All right. So hold on. Here's where I think part of the problem is going to be as I'm just listening to you. Okay.
Sure.
And that is what tenants have to realize. I realize you're paying based upon a month. But if there's a balance owing, even though you're maybe paying November, let's say you owe something for October, that amount you pay that you're thinking might be November is going to be applied to October.
No.
So, yes, that's the way it works. I don't know if that's what occurred here, but when you tell me that you're paying a certain month, there had to be a back balance.
Correct. I had a past due balance of back rent from like September to November. They extended an agreement to me for me to pay half of what I owe. I owe $3,600. I agreed to pay $1,800. When I came to court and saw you in November, you told me to make sure I pay $1,000 before my next court date. Not only did I make a payment of $1,000, I paid $1,837. I paid the December rent, including my sewage and my water, with $1,132, as well as paying up two more $1,000 payments. And then I see that the January rent was $1,049, and the February rent was $1,036. So I'm $36 off on 1 month, I'm $49.08 off on another month. When we add those together, that's $85.
Here's your
Add that with the $870 to this month, so I'll have a past due balance of $85.
Ms. Fontanella.
Your Honor, I don't know if you recall, but we were back on this case back in December, and the situation that had occurred was Silo Farms was running a rent forgiveness program. However, that money needed to be turned in by a specific date in November. Mr. Bailey did not turn in the money by the certain date in November, and so that rent forgiveness program was not extended to him. And so since then, he has continued to maintain his argument that he is owed this credit of 50% off his rent. However, he didn't abide by that agreement by turning in the money and the agreement at the same time, like within the time frame it needed to be. So that didn't qualify him for it. And so back on December 13th, in a prior case, a judgment was entered. And so now the last payment I show that Mr. Bailey made was on January 8th of $1,000, which left him with a balance of $988.56. And so now we're obviously into March, and so he owes that past due balance plus January, February, and March.
Yeah.
That's not correct. She gonna say she don't got it in paper. She gonna say she don't got my handwriting. Like these people call me 1,000 times. Like I called Rachel Dornbush at Palace all through November and all in December. When I came to court on whatever date that was in December.
All right, everybody bring me a ledger. I'm setting a non-jury trial on this matter, April 1st, 2025, 9 a.m. Everybody bring it. I'll make the call at that. I'll make the call at that point. I'll set the trial date, April 1st. No.
What am I submitting to?
You can submit it to the court. You can file it up front, and then it will get to me. Thank you.
All right.
The court does call the case of Whitaker Oaks versus Ayala Brown. Alita Brown, I think.
Eddie Fontanella for the plaintiff, Your Honor.
Ma'am, state your name.
Hello. Olivia Brown.
All right, where are we on this case?
Your Honor, there's current rent due of $3,587.44, court costs of $278, for a total of $3,865.44. However, I did just confirm with my client right before court today that Miss Brown dropped off, I believe, $1,000. So that would bring the balance down to $2,865.44.
$2,865.
That is correct.
All right. All right. Miss
So
Brown.
we still owe $2,865?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, okay, that sounds about right. And then I also have a question. So the remaining, after we pay the $1,000, the remaining will go on April's rent, correct?
Say again.
The remaining, once we pay the $1,000 next week, once we pay the other $1,000, and then we get it like completely caught up, can I pay like the remaining $600 or whatever is remaining on April's rent? Is that how it's gonna go or no?
Well, I don't understand your math. So you owe $2,865.44.
Yeah, the $865 is what I'm talking about. So after we pay the $2,000 that we're gonna pay next week, that's gonna bring out the $3,000.
Okay, that's the part. That's the part. Hold on. That's the part you left out for me. Okay. All right. So, Ms. Brown, maybe.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this: you're gonna pay $2,000 next week, right?
Well, we're paying $1,000 next week. We're gonna pay $1,000 next week, and then the week after that, we're also gonna pay $1,000 because that's all we can afford right now. Because, like I said before, it's only me and my boyfriend paying.
Okay. All right. I'm just trying to figure out your math here. So next week you can pay $1,000. Then the week after you can pay $1,000, right?
Correct.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
Correct. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I'm at work. I'm sorry if it's hard to hear.
No, it's okay. And then when would you pay that other $865.
We would pay the $865 the week after we get done paying the $1,000. But we were just wondering if that $865 was gonna go on April's rent, because
No.
April's rent's gonna be right around the corner.
Right. And so what I'm trying to figure out is I'm going to do this a different way so that you can get this paid off. Right? Like I say that, like I think that you're trying to do. You're going to pay $1,000 next week, $1,000 the week after, which is really the first week of April. And then you're going to try to complete that back balance that next week, right?
Correct. Yes.
Okay. So Ms. Brown, just listen real close. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to find no tribal issue after a hearing. Okay. I'm going to issue a judgment for that $2,865.44. Okay. I'm going to give you I'm going to extend the writ date out another 11 days because I think she's going to get this paid, and she made that good faith $1,000 payment to the 11th, to April 11th.
Correct.
For a
And
writ date.
we also talked to our landlord as well. So there is also an agreement as far as verbally as well. And we talked to both of our landlords as far as today.
All
so
right.
they both
Ms.
are
Brown,
aware.
Ms. Brown, just take a breath. I tell you what I'm going to do. So you get that paid, then you paid off the judgment. Okay, I'm giving you enough time to get all that clear. Okay.
That sounds good.
And
That
then
sounds
the
good.
only thing that you have to be aware of is the numbers I'm working with don't include April.
Correct. Yes, I know.
Okay. And then you work on April, but you'll be in good shape. You pay the $1,865. Those are your 3 weeks. Get it paid and you're all set. Okay.
All right. Thank you so much.
Your Honor.
All right.
I'd just like to place my
Take care.
objection.
Have a good weekend. And I'm doing that over plaintiff's objection.
Thank you.
Court calls case Whitaker Oaks versus Lisa Miltz.
Sydney Fontanella for the plaintiff, Your Honor.
Is she in Zoom?
I think she might be on the iPhone, Your Honor.
You think so? Miss Miltz?
Yeah.
Okay, that's you.
Okay.
Okay. And is it Bernadine Kreitner?
Yep.
Kreitner. All right. Okay, how much is owing at this point?
Your Honor, there's current rent due of $1,741.15, court costs of $239, for a total of $1,980.15. I would just like to update the court. It appears that Miss Dornbush spoke with Miss Miltz back on the 17th, and Miss Miltz had informed her that she was planning to vacate, but she needed 1 more week.
Oh, okay. Is that correct?
Yes, they told me I had to be out by the 31st.
Okay.
And
So
then we would work out something with the back money owed after all this is over.
okay, so what I'm going to do then, ma'am, is I'm going to find no tribal issue after a hearing. In this case, I'm going to grant a judgment for possession. It's not a money judgment against you. You guys can still work out what you want to work out, but this will give them a right to get possession.
Okay.
Okay. And 1980-15. And you said you got to be out by the 31st. You're going to make it by that time?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to writ date of April 2nd.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Okay. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Court calls case Coachville versus Jessica Green
Sydney
and Jessica Stenger.
Sydney Fontanella for the plaintiff, Your Honor.
Oh, I see. James Green. Jessica Stenger. Gotcha.
He's here too, he just got one to get out.
Oh, okay. She wants to stay back there?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. How much is owing?
Your Honor, I'm showing that there's rent due of $1,477.45, court costs of $212, for a total of $1,689.45.
All right. How are we getting this paid?
All right, we have a hog appointment next week. We did call after last Friday. No, though.
Okay, so excuse me, what date is your appointment? The 26th. Okay. They've got a hawk appointment that day. I knew you guys were gonna try, so you got in that on the 26th. I'm going to adjourn this out to March 28th, 2025 at 12 p.m. That's a Friday. It's you'll have to submit a form, but I don't know if I'll grant it, but
This Friday, yes, it's Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Yeah.
got it. Okay. So they'll give you that form. We'll see you in a week. Okay, thank you. Northville Crossing versus William Harrison.
Sydney Fontanillo for the plaintiff, Your Honor.
Harrison and Leon Butler.
Your Honor,
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
no, you're fine. They may not be appearing. They did pay in full, so I would like to make a motion with the court.
To dismiss it?
Yes, please, without prejudice. Thank you.
All right. Case is dismissed. That's without prejudice. That's probably why they're not here. Court does call the case of Northville Crossing versus Kelsey Perry.
Sydney Fontanillo for the plaintiff.
Hello, Miss Perry.
Hello, how are you?
I don't know. But it's been a day. All right.
I hear ya.
Okay. How much is owing on this?
Your Honor, there's rent due of $1,885.02. Court costs of $246 for a total of $2,131.02 due.
All right. And Miss Perry, how are you going to get that paid, you think?
Well, like I told you last time, I applied for the SCR. I had to reapply because I had an issue getting in contact with anybody at the office to get a copy of my lease that they wanted. I finally was able to have them give me a copy of the SCR. But either way, with anything, I could pay 1,000 of it next week for sure. I also have patients in with some other places, but they're waiting for the SCR stuff to go through.
Okay, so you can pay 1,000 by what date?
By Friday, the 28th.
Okay, can you do that early in the day?
I sure can.
All right, what's the time on the 12? All right, I'm going to adjourn this out 1 week, 28, 2025. That's at 12 noon, okay?
Okay.
Get it paid early so that communication can be gotten to council that it's paid. And then so that you know, Miss Perry, on that date, I may decide to issue a judgment so that that freezes that number. And you can worry about April, but to maintain your housing, get a figure that you got to pay. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Yep,
So
no
I may do that next week, but let's get that 1,000 and see where we are.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Northville Crossing versus Michael Powers and Gary Lindow and Jessica Lindow.
Sydney Fontanillo for the plaintiff, Your Honor.
Hello.
Hello.
What's your name?
Michael Powers.
All right. And how much is oh boy. How much is owing?
Your Honor, so there is rent due of $1,641.72. Court costs of $302 for a total of $1,943.72. I did confirm though with my client right before this hearing that I believe Mr. Powers dropped off $1,600. So that does leave about $340-ish something left.
You haven't paid. Okay. He says he's gonna pay the remaining. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna adjourn this to the 28th, 2025 at 12 noon. If you get it paid, check with the attorney's office, make sure you're all paid up. They're gonna dismiss it out.
Yes, sir.
All right. Thank you. That's a great way to end my docket. Okay. 14A stands adjourned. Go Terps.